When Smith & Wesson first introduced its M&P Shield series of pistols, they really reinvigorated the concealed carry market for firearms, and they also redefined what a concealable personal defense firearm should be. It was subcompact, it was very slim, and it used a single stack magazine to hold full power centerfire pistol cartridges, including the 9mm Luger and 40 Smith & Wesson cartridge. The success of the Shield really caused other major manufacturers to take notice and introduce their own line of subcompact single-stack semi-autos. But in the Shield's original lineup, there was a noticeable gap, and that was the fact that there was no model of the Shield that could chamber America's favorite fight-stopping round, the .45 ACP. Now all that's changed in recent years with the introduction of the Smith & Wesson M&P Shield 45. Now many of the features on the Shield 45 are going to be very similar to those of the earlier Shield models. It's very slim, it has good steel 3-dot sights, and as well it feeds from a single stack magazine. In this case, you get either a 6-round flush fitting magazine or the extended 7-round with a little extra collar at the bottom to help improve your grip. But there are also a few changes in the 45, and it makes sense because the 45 cartridge is going to have a little bit more kick than the 9 or the 40. So in response, and to maintain a small pistol that was still easy and in fact fun to shoot, Smith & Wesson changed the texturing on the polymer grip. In this case, they went to a much more aggressive texturing pattern, and it really does feel like either a custom stippling job or kind of that skateboard tape. If not quite that aggressive, very close. And what it does is it really helps anchor this small pistol in your hand, even under the recoil of that full power 45. Now, other changes in the Shield 45, I think that Smith & Wesson has continued to tinker with the triggers on these guns. Now remember that the M&P Shield originally had a better trigger than the earlier M&P models. It was claimed to have a better reset, and in fact, it did. It was an improvement over original M&Ps. I think the Shield 45 kind of further refines that. Whether they're working on the internals, I think it just has a little bit better of a trigger. It's got a nice crisp break and a very clear reset. Finally, you're going to notice that on the front of the slide near the muzzle, there is actually a little bit of serrations here, kind of following that fish scale style that they use at the rear. So if you're into forward serrations on your slide, you have some on the Shield here. But of course, if you don't typically use the press check, you still do have the window at the top of the chamber to see if there's a round loaded. Controls for the Shield 45 are all on the left side. You have the takedown lever, the slide stop and release, and the manual thumb safety. Now, of course, models are available without the thumb safety if that's your preference. Disassembly follows the same procedures for other M&Ps. First, we're going to drop the magazine. We're going to visually and tactically inspect that the chamber is empty, and then we're going to rotate the takedown lever 90 degrees downward. Now at this point, you can either engage the sear deactivation lever, which is found inside the slide just underneath the chamber, or you can release the slide forward, and pull the trigger, and pull it off the frame. Inside the slide assembly, of course, there is the dual captured recoil spring and the barrel. And at that point, your Shield is disassembled and ready for maintenance. As with the original Shields, one of the key features here is the shootability of this platform. For such a small, thin gun, especially in a full power chambering, the Shield is incredibly easy to shoot. In fact, it's downright enjoyable. So for those in the market for a small, concealable, full power semi-automatic, the Smith & Wesson M&P Shield 45 should definitely be on your list for consideration.
For more reviews of firearms and shooting gear, check out the latest edition of American Rifleman the magazine,